Supermen. Thank you. Thank you very much. This particular point in the story, our hero Rael is moving underground into an almost perfect reconstruction of the streets of New York City. And with his childhood memories, he begins to think of his first romantic adventures and how he had purchased a book titled, from a cheap discount bookstore, Erogenous Zones and Difficulties in Overcoming Finding Them. His first romantic adventure, after many months of study of the aforementioned book, he mastered his motions from initial arousal to completion in a mere 78 seconds, leaving his opposite number not even remotely titillated, and he was left cuddling his own prickly porcupine. With the porcupine, he found himself on a very soft, carpeted corridor with thousands of little people kneeling and crawling obsessively towards a heavy wooden door, through which a spiral staircase would lead them into a chamber with 32 other doors, only one of which could get any of them out.
All right, we're here on the second side of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. No one can really tell the story like Peter Gabriel, so there he was from those shows in Los Angeles telling the second part of the story of Rael. We left you 2 weeks ago. We actually took a break for the Super Bowl. We record this on Sundays and, wanted to watch the Super Bowl. In hindsight, I'm not sure that was a great idea or not. But anyway, we did that, and it is what it is. But we are back. We left Rael, after a little bit of a journey that he had started on with the Wall of Death, in Times Square, making his way into the underground, into the cage, and ultimately left him with a pretty trippy song where everybody in his life had turned into lifeless packaging for sale. And now we're going to find him kind of in that same world, but catapulted into, we're going to learn a lot about Rael here over the next 5-10 minutes. And we're going to get into really a side of music that is one of my absolute favorites that Genesis ever put together. And I think it's probably the same for you. Is that right, Jake?
Yeah, I'm not sure how you figured that one out, but we were just talking about this before the, yeah. This
right before
is
I hit record.
Probably my favorite 20 or 30 minutes of Genesis music pre-departure of Peter Gabriel. And in terms of classic Genesis, I think this is it's a montage of all things that Genesis has kind of thrown at us over the years, leading up to this point. We get kind of all sides of the band that has become, this 5-piece Genesis.
Yep.
Plus, you get a healthy dose of that enosification in this little span of music here. But it, aside from containing what is probably my favorite classic Genesis song of all time in the Carpet Crawlers, the rest of this music is it just I don't know. It's so polished, right? It's so professionally laid out that you just kind of have to say, well, yeah, damn, boys really did something here.
Yeah, and so we're going to hear 5 songs tonight. Every one of them is so dramatically different from the last, but they mesh together so well. Back in New York City is just an absolute rock song. You've got Hairless Heart, instrumental, Counting Out Time, which is very poppy, Carpet Crawlers, which is psychedelic and trippy, and then the Chamber of 32 Doors, which I feel is very folky, almost like I'm a big indie rock fan, and so I just love that song because it just kind of comes across as it's got to be an inspiration for a lot of the indie rock bands that are out there because it's just it's got that folk swing to it. So we're gonna get into it and kind of talk over it and see where this journey takes Rael and ultimately takes us. When Back in New York City starts, there's very little opportunity for us to really rap over it because it is a heavy song. One thing that I just wanted to point out about this song that I love about it is that it did go on to become a really prominent part of their stage show for Genesis, but also for Peter Gabriel. It was a song that he would play on a lot of his solo tours for many, many years. And that had to be just delightful for the audience and the fans to hear him doing this song. And in fact, after his, I really don't want to call it a failed WOMAD expedition, but he ultimately did the WOMAD. He, the world of music and dance, and it didn't. He invested more than it made, and he ended up in a lot of trouble and had a lot of financial obligations, and got together with the guys of Genesis to put out a concert in 1982, called Six of the Best, and they opened that show with Back in New York City, and I just think it's a really legend has it that that Peter Gabriel wanted to be brought out on stage for that show in a coffin and have the coffin open and have him, and he was going to come out and do Back in New York City. And I really don't know whether they actually saw that through, to be honest, because there's no video of Six of the Best. Actually, I think it was Rutherford who really made sure that they didn't have this concert in 1982 was not well documented. There's a lot of bootlegs of it, and you can hear the music of it, but there's not like really pure good video of it. There's a lot of images that people have put together. And the reason I'm talking about it is just the prominence that Back in New York City played for that fan base. If you were out in the crowd and you knew you were getting ready to see a reunited Genesis and they come out with Back in New York City, it just had to have been a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a powerful song, and it's predictive as well, right? I mean, this is Genesis again, kind of turning the page and doing something sort of new for them. And really, in my opinion, Jarrett, this is kind of new for music. To me, this is sort of a proto-punk song.
Yeah.
We're getting into punk rock, and this is 1975. We're a good 2 years before the big commercial explosion, if you can use that term, of punk. To me, this is another, little innovation from Genesis.
Yeah, 100%. Let's hear it. A little bit of a Rael audio biography here. We're learning more about him. This is really him in his previous life being a bit of a New York City punk, right?
Yeah, he's running around with this spray can, hating on everybody. He's just kind of mad at the world.
And Gabriel told it best on the live show about the porcupine and the relationship here that we're going to hear in just a minute, that I always scratch my head about, but now I understand it a little bit better.
It does help to have his narrative.
Yeah. I feel like this side of the album tells kind of the most obvious story. There's not a lot of mystery here to unpack.
Yeah, we're about to jump the shark again here a little bit. I think when we get out of the hallway and into the chamber of 32 doors.
Wow, yeah, and the carpet crawlers. You're right. There's some mystery for sure.
There's the vocal N.Y.C. Best I can tell, what he's doing here is running him through a kind of an unstable tape loop or tape delay, which he uses like a physical piece of magnetic tape. But you can wobble that speed, which gives it that kind of a wobbly nature. And then, you get into the filters that they put on there, which are probably some kind of treble filter.
It's an awesome effect.
Oh, you really sounds like the film strip guy, right?
It's almost like he's underwater, It takes me back to Stagnation.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
We gotta point out the bass line here. I mean, it's just torturous.
Oh, it's epic.
Devastation.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
So that, of course, is Mike Rutherford on the bass pedals, the Moog bass pedals, which are just overdriven as hell here.
Yeah.
Getting your bones.
Phil Collins said that this was the happiest he ever was going on tour and playing these shows. I mean, he obviously had the biggest hit he's ever had in his career, but just this music, I mean, just how innovative it was, how fun it was to play. Let's listen to the breakdown, the bass line when it comes out of this vocal part.
That's so dirty.
It's so good.
I know, it gives you that grit. I mean, you can feel Rael's kind of dirty, gritty street life, in his New York City gang.
How many times have we talked about rape in this podcast? There was the musical box rape. There was Fountain of Salmacis rape. Now this song's talking about rape.
And here we go again, and it's got to be with some kind of snakes, right? Peter Gabriel's stuck on something here. Whatever you do, don't hit him with a stick.
Right, exactly.
Now this right here is Mr. Hackett running his guitar through a early guitar synth. I'm not exactly sure what the setup was, but certainly can dig into that.
Yeah, so this is Hairless Heart, and I know we talked about it last week, but there's some similarity here. Like I think the Wall was influenced by some of what we're hearing here. Like this seems to me to be a bit of a very introspective look at mental health and issues that Rael is going through, and there's this sentiment of needing to cleanse the body and needing to shave the body of any filth, any dirtiness. And we obviously see that same theme as Pink is descending into his hell kind of behind the wall. Very famously in the movie depiction of the Wall, he's shaves his entire body, shaves his nipples off, shaves his eyebrows. It's disgusting. And I get that same kind of vibe and feeling here from Hairless Heart. And the Wall moves into the song about I need a dirty woman, right? And then this one moves right into the first kind of sexual encounter as well. So I just wonder if Roger Waters was sitting back listening to The Lamb getting influenced.
What a great comparison, because to me that I was going to draw that same line, right? That this sounds very Floydian, and you have to kind of question the influence that it had, particularly the tone of those synthesizers.
Yeah, 5 years before The Wall too.
Right, now speaking of, this song to me sounds very much like a channeling of All the Young Dudes, right? Or Telephone Line by ELO.
Yeah.
A very poppy song. Almost, I can't get those lines out of my head when I hear this song.
Young Lust is the song I was trying to think of.
Yeah. And this song was written independent of this whole process. It was kind of pre-written by Peter Gabriel, right? And he brought it into the album idea.
Yeah, it's definitely a standout, and they released this as a single. It didn't chart all that well, but it goes down as being one of the more enjoyable singles from the album for kind of mainstream fans.
Super poppy. Sounds like he was trying to write a pop song, right?
Yeah, but also very provocative, and so likely would have met an uphill battle to get played on the radio.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's probably the juxtaposition here, right? The music itself is very approachable, but the lyrical content is risque.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
I love the doo-wop here in the background. The little hoo-hoos in the background.
Yeah.
So fun.
It's a really rich little ditty. You gotta love this. This again is a guitar being run through a guitar synth. I have to imagine Brian Eno was behind some of this, right? At least he must have shown up with a box of fun stuff. And here, plug into this.
I love this part. It just all goes wrong for him. I got to get my money back. My mistress's distress. It's just so smart, as soon as you think you've got it all figured out, you just don't when it comes to women and what it takes to, keep women happy and satisfied. It's just such a good commentary on relationships. and it just doesn't stop.
And a classic title for a a classic title for a 60s or early 70s self-help book, right? Erogenous zones and how to find them or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the transition to the carpet crawlers, I've never quite understood, but I just kind of go with it. Like, I mean, this is the song that kind of you shared with me that got me hooked and kind of got us to this point. But
yeah, this is hands down one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The way I see it, Jared, is kind of one of those fuzzy fades, and Rael just kind of finds himself here.
Right.
You know, if it was The Wiz, the camera would blink and he would look around from a close up and find himself in this hallway.
Yeah, I almost find that Back in New York City and Counting Out Time are Rael having a memory, like kind of looking back. And this is the reality that we left him in the cave, or in the cage, underground.
Now this little point right here, I know Banks has said that he feels that one of the finest moments of all of Genesis as a five-piece is, or just, you know, in history, is the point in Fly on a Windshield, right? When the whole band comes in, right? When the fly hits the windshield. I totally respect that, but in my opinion, it's right there, right? When the band comes in on this song, it's the vibe that they set. It's just, it gives me chills.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this song deserves a little more attention, a little more credit. This was also released as a single, didn't quite chart. And they mentioned our podcast. Yeah, it's crazy.
How about that? Yeah, I'm glad, dude. Thanks for the shout out. You know what really gets me about this song is it's kind of the motion of it, right? You've got this halftime feel that the band is you know, Tony is playing this kind of these long chords, Steve's there with these long kind of drawn out sustained notes. The vocals are drawn out, they're halftime, and then back there is Phil hammering away with this little double time feel on the hi-hats, right? And it just gives this song a sense of motion that is kind of creepy, but also like promising or progressive, right? You feel the motion of these carpet crawlers.
Yeah. I love that take, and I love the build of the song. Just how soft it comes in and how it builds into just a genuine rock song.
Yeah, it's subtle. Just gets a little more driving. You hear those little arps in the background. The digga 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 digga.
Right.
This is pure fodder for us, you know, electronic music producers. This is how you build a track.
The vocal performance with Gabriel and Collins is just incredible as well.
I do wonder how this would have done at maybe a different time. I mean, it's not the most commercial song, but it's expressive. You know, I think I mentioned that to you when I first played this for you, that, you know, I feel it's kind of timeless.
Yeah.
But it could have worked in, just rework it as a emo song in the late 90s or early 2000s, it would work.
Yeah. I mean, there's some weird stuff going on in the lyrics, but the vibe of the song for sure.
Like that nice little return of the mellotron.
Yeah, and then there's a big bell that rings here that I'm really curious to get your take on.
Big tubular bells.
Was that just like adult money? They bought some bells and brought them into the studio and just banged on them.
Yeah.
And put them in one song.
Yeah, I think this is the second song we've noted, not on this album, but there's a previous one on that had some tubular bells in it. So they keep them in the closet, roll them out at Christmas time.
This, over the past 12 months, this is my number one played song. There's something about this song that just really speaks to me and my musical taste. And I listen to a lot of these like kind of indie rock groups, you know, and I could just see any of them kind of taking this on and doing this as a cover. You know, I think of like a band that I love, Dawes or Guster or Avett Brothers. You know, any of these groups could just come out with a version of this song because it's just got this very folky swing to it that I just love. You can judge by his eyes, take a look if you
can. Yeah, I get that vibe. Particularly because of the tubular bells.
I'd rather trust a man who works with his hands.
I do love that line.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather trust a man who works with his hands. Looks at you once, you know he understands.
Don't need any shield when you're out in the field. Can't stop telling the story. He's got to cram it in.
Yeah, I know he came back to the band and asked them to extend Carpet Crawlers and a couple of the other songs for just to fit the lyrics.
Oh, I bet.
Said, I need another 2 verses, guys. You need to talk about shaving a hairy heart, and you got Tony Banks going, ew! I think he was mortified when he heard the title of that song.
Well, he famously always said he didn't connect with the story here. You know, obviously the music is genius, but Tony Banks just always wrestled with this story. Imagine having to go tour it, you know, 102 shows on the road around the world. Another great line.
Yeah, this vibe. All right, the more you yeah, I hear it.
If I choose a side, you won't take me for a ride. Back in
This is really Peter Gabriel at his best. Just what a voice.
Well, his best vocal performance is "Don't Give Up," but this is pretty darn close. This is pretty close.
It's in the ballpark. All right, fair.
Yeah. That
you hear that gritty quality in his voice here that you hear in "Don't Give Up." It's and that we just fell in love with in the '80s as fans of So and so on and so forth.
What a way to end the first half of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Just that little piano ting at the end. I just love it. I think it's so great. And the reverb on that lasts for probably 10 seconds or so. So it's just a great way to transition us into what's going to come next on the back half of this album, which is, spoiler alert, pretty fucking trippy.
That might be an understatement, Jared. No, I love it. And you're highlighting something here that is just so often forgotten these days, and that's the listening experience. This album comes in 4 sides, right? And chopping that up is part of the creative process, right? How do you end album 1? You want people to turn that disc over, right? So it has to be compelling, and these are things that bands don't have to think so much about anymore, or maybe they don't get to think about so much anymore, right? But you're living this experience right now through kind of going back and listening to these albums on vinyl. And if I were you, I'd want to do 2 things right now, and that's one. Take a break, right? Go crack a beer, have a smoke, something, whatever you do.
Right.
But then immediately put on the next side of this album and get right back to it. It's so compelling.
I saw an interview with Genesis from the 90s recently, and it was shortly after they released We Can't Dance. And it was incredible to me because the topic of the reporter's curiosity was about just that thing. Every single Genesis album they had written and produced and arranged with the construct of vinyl. I mean, even Invisible Touch, right? It was like, here's a very defined side A, here's a very defined side B. And then you get into We Can't Dance, and it was the age of CDs, and you could just fit a whole lot more music on a CD. And a lot of the fans were calling into this interview saying, hey, it's crazy. I noticed you guys have a lot of 10-minute songs on this album. And Tony Banks is like, have you listened to us? You could go, do you know anything about Genesis? 10-minute songs? Come on. We have 23-minute songs, depending on how far back you go in our catalog. And, I just think this is, for me, it's been a lot of fun. Just this journey just has taken me in so many different directions. And I've been able to fill all of my free time with, fun little Genesis nuance.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because it's the time, the CD brought about the whole counter. You had a little counter that was telling you how long all the songs were. I don't think anybody ever paid any attention to that before. I mean, maybe you did if you were big into 8-tracks. And I have to imagine, Jarrett, you would have been big into 8-tracks.
Well, of course.
You would have been the guy.
I would have been.
First guy on the block.
I embrace all failed technology, folks. So I had the Zune player. I was the first with the Microsoft Zune.
Yeah, this guy had an in-dash mini disc.
I was ripping mini discs. I was ripping mini discs all through all of my college years, like no one would believe. Actually, someone stole my mini disc player out of my Honda Civic. It was an in-dash mini disc player, but it was one of those that like you couldn't tell it was a mini disc player. You probably thought it was a CD player when you stole it out of my car. And I just I love thinking about this asshole going to the pawn shop and trying to sell it, and the pawn guy is like, "What the hell is this?
Oh, we don't take those.
This doesn't. Where do you put a CD in this thing? Oh no, it's a mini disc." Anyway, yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
But in the modern streaming world, we're kind of back to this whole idea of producers being in control, right, and being able to kind of put together an album the way they see fit. And what's funny is what's winning out now is the super short track, right? If you have a 30-minute album or a 45-minute album, and that album consists of 45 tracks, right? You get paid for each track that somebody listens to. So if they listen to one of your songs and it happens to be 3 tracks, then you get paid 3 times through Spotify or wherever your streaming platform is. You guys can look this up. It's all,
Gotcha.
it's a very popular topic among musicians these days. So, how do you make the most out of what these new platforms are doing and kind of how they monetize things? Back in the day, you got the B side if you bought the A side, right? So the B side, that's kind of why we B side gets its name. It's just it was an empty space. But you're selling the A side, right? Now you're selling these concepts, and it's kind of it's the same thing, but it's just a different spin on how you market it. But either way, I'm happy to kind of see that we're getting back more, I guess, maybe more to the organic feel of a concept album being something that you could really sit down and listen to as a session piece,
Yep. Yeah, it's all fascinating stuff. So we're halfway done with the Lamb. We've got 2 more sides to go, and we're excited to bring those to you. Any last thoughts on what we just heard, Jake? As I catch you mid whiskey sip.
No, I think what really comes to mind is just, other than a love for the music that we just listened to, is a little bit of a sadness, right? That we're not going to get too much more of this. It's just the one other, to kind of the 2 other sides of this album, and then that's it for 5-piece Genesis. In its classic, most powerful lineup. And so, it's sort of like most of the way through Christmas Day.
Yeah, I feel what you feel when it comes to that. I mean, obviously, there's still some great stories to be told, but if you reflect on what we talked about in the last podcast about just what was going on with these guys at this moment in time, you do understand how fragile it is and how it's likely all going to come to an end. But wow, I mean, what a side of music we just listened to, and we'll keep it going as we venture into the next couple sides. But I'm with you on that kind of tinge of sadness that comes along with it. All right, well, check us out. We're Mild Mannered Supermen. We're excited to keep bringing this to you, and we will keep it going. And we hope to hear from you on our different channels, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, any YouTube, TikTok, any of the places that you can interact with us. We're Mild Mannered Supermen kind of everywhere you go. So easy enough to search for us, find us, listen to us, and make some comments and tell us what we got right, tell us what we got wrong. We love it all. Thanks, Jake. Enjoyed doing this with you.
You too, my brother. Until next time.
That's right.
Mild Mannered Supermen, Mild Mannered Supermen.